Welcome back, everybody, to the LCK's regional qualifier. We are looking for our third team to make it into Worlds, and so far, Gen.G has taken the lead over T1, 1-0 in this best of 5. Had some stumbles there in the mid game, but other than that, looked very, very clean. BD comes out with his Azir once again. What are you thinking about this one, LS? How do you think it's gonna go?
Well, I want to see the draft. I want to see what's gonna happen in game number 2, because I feel like this is a series that I was talking about on stream last night. I think is heavily impacted by the draft, mostly because if T1 just has something like they had in game 1, I think they're never winning. I think they'll never win these 2080s or 3070s. I just don't think that they have it in them to do that. However, if things are more stable and it's much more of a 45-55 or a 50-50 or even a 60-40, I think T1 can definitely beat Gen.G. And so I'm looking to see if we end up getting something like that. If we don't, this could just be a 3-0.
Yeah, certainly I think the most confusing thing was the Aphelios with Senna available. And
yeah.
The most obvious counter pick in the world, especially when it's Ruler on the other side. That was the one where we were like, yeah, don't know about that one. And so I think there's a lot of things to tailor in the draft. Even in the support role, Life is a very common set player. Didn't seem like they had, too much to handle that. I suppose the Aphelios, but didn't have much fun with some of the other picks in Gen.G's lineup.
The other thing is the Kindred is counterintuitive with basically the draft itself too. It makes it very hard for Echo and Renekton to do what they want to do with their jungler, which is very problematic. And then in addition to that, the enemy has 2 champions that actually counter Lamb's Respite. So that made no sense either. Also, your top lane matchup of Renekton, the enemy can get so much value by going Ninja Tabi and Bramble Vest, which is what Rascal did. I just don't know. I mean, the draft... Solo Q could have drafted better. So...
Was there any redeeming factor? Do you think there was anything? Okay. Well, there you have it. So, all 5 picks did not meet the standard of LS that time around. So we're going to have to see something entirely different. And as you were mentioning, I would assume that T1 will pick blue side. Of course, it is side selection for Gen.G in games 1, 3, and 5 because they're the higher seed, and side selection for T1 in games 2 and 4. So if they do pick blue, do you think we're going to see 780 carry bans once again, or is something going to change because of the side selection?
The 780 carry bans themselves don't really matter when you show an inability to get why you're doing the 780 carry bans. Yeah. The bans themselves are irrelevant when the pick that you end up going for is Aphelios, even though there's several counters that are open to him. Obviously, you can take Ziggs into him, you can take any mage into him, you can take Senna, and Varus is actually still good into Aphelios and Senna in particular. So that's why it was so confusing, especially because Senna on R4 has at least synergy with Renekton and Echo, because she's able to support them in their job and what they're trying to do way better than an Aphelios can. So, it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely. Certainly the biggest head scratcher there. Whereas on the side of Gen.G, pretty straightforward. I think they drafted pretty well for themselves. They got the Volibear, they were able to flex that. They took Set early, were able to flex that. Although, as you were mentioning, not a huge flex because Life is such a prolific Set player. So, pretty interesting to see how the draft does go for Game 2. I haven't gotten any word as to why there does seem to be a little bit of a delay. Don't believe we had any subs coming in, so not waiting on setup time or anything like that. But we'll try to get this game started for you guys as soon as possible.
Not totally sure. It would not be a day without pauses. Okay, Valdez. We always need to make sure that we have this available for us.
It's what we like. Long spans of time. And you can see here Gen.G's pretty much ready to go. Looks like they're all in the lobby. I'm trying to look at Klid's monitor because that's the one that's closest and also fully visible. Kana's, you can see everybody is in fact in the lobby, so maybe just waiting to start up this game, waiting for the word from the referee. And here we go. Looks like the pick ban is ready to go. So T1 have, in fact, selected blue. And let's see how it all pans out.
Well, let's see what the first ban of the game is going to be. Looks like Callista is going to be the first one that could get hovered and banned away. I'm cheating. I'm actually using Kana's screen. Lucian's going to be the follow-up.
And it begins
Azir?
again. I mean, these are the first two bans that we had from game one, although the Azir is a mix-up. Caitlyn here again by Gen G. They do not want to see Gamushi playing that pick. Volibear. So I thought maybe they would leave Volibear available so they could potentially first pick it, but they do let it go. And it looks like they want to go ahead and select Set. No, it's going to be switched up into Ashe.
And Ashe B1 by T1 as Genji now going to pick up the Renekton. And
Renekton is selected, and
Set.
Set is also available here. So looks like this will be the selection. We're not going to have Nidalee selected just yet, and no 80 carry yet for Ruler, although Senna is available once again. See what T1 decides to pick into this. Does kind of feel like the Ashe is pretty happy about it so far, but what is going to be the selection alongside of it? Well, Pantheon trying to fight fire with fire, potentially down in the bottom side, and Ashe Pantheon was a great duo that we had from recent times in the LCK.
T1, what is their next pick going to be? We'll see what they end up locking in. Probably should be a mid laner that can just go against a wide range of champions. So let's see if that ends up being the case. Well, okay. Jace is able to, in theory, be flexed. Could go both mid or top lane. And Nidalee now is being hovered. It's going to get locked in by Clid. Or, well, by BDD for Clid. Now we move to the next ban phase, and I imagine that T1's going to try to pinch the marksman pool further, but still there's just so many champions that are open down in bot lane.
Yeah, it's always pretty difficult to go ahead and do that. They may ban some specific stuff that can be played into the Ashe, but the Lilia, once again, going to be taken off the board here this time by Gen G. And the Jace is pretty interesting. Does feel like Ninja Tabi will be pretty nice, although there is a nice amount of CC with Ashe Pantheon at the same time. Orianna is actually going to be taken off the board here away from BDD.
That makes me ponder if the Jace is actually going to go into mid lane, as Orianna is one of the good matchups against it. But we'll see. Genji now, they're going to actually ban away the Zoe, so they're not thinking that Jace is actually going to be mid. And
yeah, Jace versus Renekton, pretty common, so could imagine that that does respond to the Renekton in the top lane.
I do wonder what T1's final ban is actually going to be. Will they just continue? Okay, they're going to ban away the Akali. And it might, I mean, it could definitely be Jace up in top against the Renekton. That is an option. Alternatively, they could just do something spicy, like go Ornn top lane and pick Karthus jungle for LM. Or even Evelynn is a champion that I think a lot of people have been waiting to see. And okay, here's the Senna that we expect. Ooh, Ezreal is going to come out instead. And Ezreal is a lot better equipped in the mid-late game than a Senna would be because of the Iceborne Gauntlet and because of the long range and repositioning. No, Eve. Evelyn.
They both start with E.
Yeah,
So
Evelyn.
you can't blame them.
Evelyn. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and
Oh,
Valdez,
man. Really maulding from here. This is really interesting. I mean, Elise. We'll see if they pick something.
She actually does everything worse than Eve, except for the level 3 gank. The level 3 gank, you can argue, you can definitely make the case that Elise is a little bit better. Once Eve is 6, Eve's turret dives are basically same as Elise's, but Evelyn scales so much harder than Elise. So this is so perplexing because we've been seeing Evelyn pop up in other regions. She's one of the best magic damage junglers in the game right now, and we're seeing Elise and Silas.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, maybe
what ultimates are on the enemy team for Silas to take?
True shot barrage. We've seen, Dominus be taken regularly, and I think the Braum ultimate actually won't be so bad against Set Renekton and Nidalee a bit. So pretty interesting. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Elise for sure. Maybe they really wanted to get this early game going very strong, and that's why I was looking for something that had good gank assist in the mid lane. Because Jace, he's not, it's going to be hard for them to really lock down Renekton unless, a lot of trading goes on. So, very curious to see how LM can do on a jungler that needs to be very proactive and looking for those ganks early on in the game.
Now, one of the potential upsides to picking Elise in a game like this is that the opponents probably haven't practiced against it in a very long time. So, that can be one of the upsides. So, we'll see if T1 can manage to utilize that in their favor, but this is going to be very akin to fighting fire with fire. But yet again, T1, the onus is on them. They have to get ahead. They do not have as much late game insurance policy. The Silas does sort of scale here, even though he doesn't have any real key ultimates to take, mostly because the enemy team is very brawlery, and some of their champions do tend to taper off as well, with the exception being the Nidalee and the Ezreal. But both of these two team compositions are very, very skirmishy. Just late game Ezreal here is going to be a nightmare.
I think this might be the game where Ruler pops off and does some crazy stuff, as he absolutely can on the Ezreal. Ezreal, also another champ that we don't see all too often nowadays, but we see it here or there, and Ruler does like to pick it up every once in a while. Looks like a cull start first for Gumayusi down on the bottom side, as LM is considering getting on into the enemy jungle as well. Will be spotted.
And it's going to be Conqueror Elise as well. So not going for Electrocute or anything of that nature. Has Water Walking and Nimbus Cloak available. On the flip side, you can see Conqueror Elise, Presence of Mind there as well. And we'll take a look at all of the runes in just a second. We're going to have to... Okay, there is definitely some Presence of Mind on T1 side.
Whoa.
Except for the Elise.
It's really cool, actually. Everybody went for the same tree, and 9 out of 10 went for it as well in this entire game. I mean, we have 4 Conquerors on the side of Gen G, 3 for T1, and you were talking about brawling. Well, I think that tells the story pretty well, as both of these sides are going to be looking to brawl quite a bit. Again, some first picks, but, LM and Gumayusi didn't play all season, so I suppose LM played a bit, but he did not play the Elise. Faker only 1 game, actually, on the Silas, and that was yesterday, of course.
Well, we'll see how this early game does transpire. So the initial opening here, we know that Clid is just going to clear out his red side jungle. Elise on the flip side doing red into blue right away. And now moving into Gromp. And it looks like Rascal, he is getting shoved in, but this is on wave 2. And so all that Khan is able to do with this is crash wave 2, put down a defensive ward to make sure he doesn't get ganked by the Nidalee, and then he's able to continue exerting pressure against the Renekton. And in doing so, he provides the Elise the ability to not have to run up to top lane to protect him against a Nidalee gank, so no counter ganks are really necessary. 18 CS by BDD. Very, very good CSing.
Yeah, he's having a fun time, and he's slow pushing it into the mid lane. I really did like the set flex into the Sylas. A couple of melee champions, and you know what set can do to those guys, as we can see pretty clearly, even in the early trades.
Yep.
BDD gonna get pretty much every CS there. Misses a couple on that last wave. And now they're looking to actually get on top of Elm here, who is gonna smite that one down. Here comes BDD, but he's got a little plant over there. So very nicely timed by Elm to get in and get out. Gumayusi, don't, yeah, you don't really want to be taking those trades against Ruler. That's, it's not necessarily what we're gonna be looking for from you.
Yeah, and the bot lane right now for Genji definitely getting the better end of everything. Now, Gumayusi needs to get out of this lane sometime within the next 2 waves. And that's really the timing for Ruler and Life to coordinate something with Clid if they're going to go for it. Now, Elim getting the Scuttle Crab on the right-hand side is actually very big, as it slows down Nidalee's tempo, and
Haymaker, and he has to flash. That is not a good look to start off this game. The set is putting down the law in the mid lane and showing Sylas what's up.
I mean, it's a very brutal laning phase, and because it's Sylas Elise, Set's able to get MR in the early stages. There it is. BDD, a bit of a savant, even going to go for the Merc Treads as his first item, most likely. And then Elise and Sylas, good luck, have fun, trying to move Set out of mid lane. I mean, this is a problem. This is why I said it's solo queue, is because it just feels like these champions are here because you want to individually play them, but there's no cohesion. In fact, there's things that just work against them. And this is the natural trajectory of pretty much all of these lanes are truly unfolding right now. Jace is winning against the Renekton, has him shoved in at pretty much all points, a bit of an HP differential. Elise is power farming, and because getting that right side Scuttle Crab actually keeping up with Nidalee a little bit. But mid lane is about to swing really, really hard in BDD's favor.
Yeah, he's going to be like a rock in the mid lane. It's not going to be easy to move him. As you can see, he's actually got a nice little experience lead over Faker. Will be hitting level 6 first. Here comes Elim and Effort. They're going to use the Hawk to get on in there and spot the enemy. But a nice little trap by Clid, but the Cocoon is going to land. The flash forward is not going to do much, though, because Clid will be able to get away.
Oh, BDD has 6!
Looking to wrap around. Life will be forced to flash, though. BDD now in kind of an awkward spot, looking to trade, and down will go Clid, as now BDD is going to go for it, but it's a little bit too late. Flashes backwards, and can he actually get in here with the Conqueror? No, he'll finally go down, as here come the 80 carries, but Ruler now is going to be baited into it. A double kill for LM, and the slows coming out, and another great Cocoon will force the cleanse and the flash out of Ruler, so an aggressive invade from T1 actually does work.
And it ends up working out really, really, really well, because the person that gets all the kills is the Elise, and she's the one that needs it the most in order to remain relevant inside of this game. Another really big trade onto Faker, chunks him a lot of his HP, but the upside is that if Elise can get ahead of Nidalee inside of this game, which those 2 kills are definitely going to help propel her to do so, things can definitely get a little bit spicy. Because if Elise is running around with an entire jungle item over the Nidalee in the early stages of the game, it creates an enormous problem for some of the laners on the side of Genji, because Set can no longer just conduct himself as freely as if the game was completely even all around. And Elim should be able to open things up a lot. I'm looking forward to looking at that replay, because it was looking like it was going to be really doomed for Gen G. So we take a look at how this happens. So Clid ends up eating the Cocoon first, and you can see BDD, he already used his Face Breaker. He's a little bit slow to move. Right here, Life and Clid could have both just backed out, and BDD could have gone back to his lane, and everything would have been fine. Life blundering with the chase a little bit too long. Cocoon comes out one more time, locks up Clid, even though he had his flash available. Haymaker repositioned via the flash, but it still wasn't enough, and Gen G blunder a lot of the decision making here, and T1 punishes it really well.
Absolutely. Just a little bit too eager to fight in that one. And here we go. Elm is actually going to get surprised. Nice block by the little spider as Elm, he doesn't really have much support. Here come Faker and Kana finally. This Faker is thinking about getting over the wall, but it is a bit of a 3-on-3 effort. Only level 5, not level 6. Trying to engage now is Faker. They know they have their support coming in, as in will go the double ultimate from the set, as BDD getting on in there, trying to chunk down effort. He's incredibly tanky. Is going to pick up the double kill, and this guy just doesn't die, as he will finally be taken out by the spider. As in goes LM looking to chase down onto Clid, but for now it will just be a 2-for-2. But that Elise is getting really massive at this stage.
And remember that during all of this, LM has Runic Echo upgrade inside of the jungle. So LM's clear speed is going to be a lot faster than that of Nidalee, and he's already getting back to the farming. Faker up in top lane now, immediately shoving in the minion wave. Jace is going to immediately rotate over into mid. He's going to push that in. Ellen now starting up the Rift Herald, thinking that, okay, Nidalee is probably just going to start pathing down into bot side. All the lanes are resetting. It's unlikely that they come over here and try to do anything to stop this. And that would be a very nice Rift Herald sneak, if he can end up getting it. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Gumayushi is up quite a bit in the CS department as well. And don't forget that he has the call. So that call is actually going to be completed in about 4 waves if he does everything pretty much perfect.
Yeah, we're going to take a look here at the replay. Obviously a lot going on as we had stolen set ultimate into real set ultimate over the wall.
And Rascal couldn't quite get the heal right at the very end. And you can see that Clid very indecisive on what he initially wanted to do. A little bit delayed with the re-engage, but Set getting enormous amounts of value in that fight for his teammates. And we can see here that as the game currently stands, it's a 700 gold lead in favor of T1. Now, their comp needs to be ahead as we transition into mid-game. And I don't feel like this lead is big enough, but it's good that all the gold is on the Elise, because she's still going to be the one that is able to influence a lot. More MR items are going to start coming in, though, as time goes on. We're going to probably have the Athenes come in for Nidalee. You can see Elam down here, trying to give effort and Gumayushi a lot more freedom.
The trading between these two in the mid lane is always pretty fun, because they're both melee, and they like to punch things, so they're both going to go ahead and try to do that. This ward actually will spot both Elm and Faker moving south at the moment, as they're just waiting in the brush, maybe looking to catch Elm. But actually the Cocoon is going to come down, and they're going to find VDD, but again, it's so difficult to take this guy down. That is a really nice arrow. In comes the Pantheon, and they're trying to take down VDD. How is this guy still alive, as he is going to go for the flash, but finally, over the wall, he will go down, and Life gets baited into it as well. So a pretty clean, just straight up double kill down on the bottom side of the map, set up there by T1.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, T1, they propel themselves to a 2,000 gold lead. They're going to summon the Rift Herald down here in bottom. They're going to give all the gold over to Gumayushi. Although it looks like they're actually going to split it up amongst their members. Call has also been completed for him as well by now, and they are getting very far ahead. And all of this snowballs off of that one time that Clid and Life, they had the option to back away. Left of the wolf camp, didn't do so. And now the whole game.
That spear.
Snowball. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think if he hit that spear, that would have been a kill. for Clid. Doesn't actually work out. Big trade happening up on the top side. Rascal is a level up, and that's going to be a spear to the face. See you later, Kana. They will hand that one over to the side of Clid, as it's pretty much just a win in the trade, which is huge for Rascal, as Kana will stay level 9 and lose even more XP with that wave pushing in. So a nice little slap back from Gen G.
And, oh, you can see they just barely managed to clip Clid on the vision, and it was a really good fake by Faker to pretend as if he didn't see. Pantheon Ultimate comes in, BDD doing his best to survive there. Effort even flashes over the wall, gets the point-blank stun, picks up the kill. And that's 2 kills going over to T1. They immediately convert this into the Herald. Meanwhile, up in top lane, slice and dice in. Really big trade by Rascal and Kana. And then you can see up here in Italy. Nice little kill there.
Yeah. And we could have had like a massive chase that maybe eventually gets Rascal the kill, but Nidalee being in position makes that a bit easier, quicker to pick up the kill. And the accelerated shock blast just goes entirely wide, so Rascal able to dodge that one and force the trade. There wasn't really much that Kana could do, but still, I mean, look at the bottom lane, and the gold difference right now is just gigantic when it does come to Ashe and Pantheon in particular. We also do have that nice jungle lead for the side of LM, although the CS is pretty decent for Clid.
Yeah, Clid is still ahead in EXP. He's also hit the level 9 breakpoint, so all of his jungle camps are respawning at a higher level. So he's getting the 35% bonus EXP over LM until LM dings that and gets all his camps respawning at level 9. And so now he finally did catch up, but Clid has been in that for a little while. And so Elise, unsure what LM's gonna go as the next item. You can already see the Merc Treads are coming out on the enemy team. And so I'm curious if LM will still go into Oblivion Orb, or if he'll actually just pick up the Liandry's, given that he is Conqueror. And then it makes the Spiderlings definitely have a much greater chance to poke the opponents.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what he does decide to go for. Obviously has a large amount of gold with his 3-0-4 scoreline. He's been part of every single kill, which is definitely a good look. Faker and Effort, the two closest. They've been a part of 6 of 7 kills, but only LM has gotten every single one. He's also going to go ahead and steal this blue, using that map control that T1 currently have to take some extra. We also have Infernal Drake about to spawn, so he's going to want to just sit here, wait if he can catch someone out, and try to pick up this dragon for his team.
Yeah. Infernal. About to... Oh, Effort.
Oh man, Effort is in the worst spot here. That's going to be a free kill straight up. Nice shock blast, but here comes Gen G over the wall. We're going to have the slow onto LM.
Oh, we got the stun!
A miss, but either way, they're trying to get on top of this spider. The flash will come in. That's 600 gold now into the pockets of Nidalee as things are falling apart now for T1. Gen G able to take a huge chunk out of them, and they also get this pretty massive Infernal.
Yeah, and the Infernal Dragon is super big for them at this point. They get the better of the 2 dragons that have spawned. Cloud Dragon is coming up.
Oh boy.
And Elise does end up picking up that Oblivion Orb. So until Renekton and Ezreal start getting MR, that will help her a lot against those 2 in particular. But a Void Staff would have been more beneficial against the Nidalee and the Set. Obviously, Braum is going to be a little bit of a beefy boy as well. So I'm a little bit surprised to see the Oblivion Orb, especially because the game's about to enter into a lull state with the dragon being captured. All things considered, there's the Iceborne Gauntlet, Deadman's Plate already up on the Set, Zanya's Hourglass going to be the next item on the Silas, and Jace is going into Lethality with the Mana Mune.
Yeah, looks like he is. There isn't, well, actually, there is a decent amount of armor built. I mean, you can see even Rascal's considering, we'll see if he does go into Ninja Top, but we also have Deadman's Plate on BDD in the mid lane. We have Iceborne Gauntlet completed by Ruler. And so that armor stacking, gonna have a bit of fun there. As we're gonna take a look here once again. Effort just kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
This is the thing that happened in game 1, if you remember, but it was also happening a lot yesterday. Effort's just having a very off series. Well, a couple of series actually now.
Qualifier.
Yeah, a very rough regional.
Yeah.
As
that's
he's
words you don't want to hear.
Consistently been the primary criminal at getting caught out or just being a little bit too far forward relative to his teammates.
Yeah. And that is, it's really not what you want to see out of your support, especially Effort. He is on the Pantheon, so he's going to be looking for some of those engages. I understand how he wants to position aggressively to try to appear strong, but you can't go that far forward because you're just going to get shut down. Actually, just loses to his fellow support in life, who slows him and then ults him up. And Effort doesn't even flash out of that one. He's now waiting here in the mid lane, looking to see what he can get going. He's got Gumusi nearby. Manamune very close. Okay, 703 as the arrow is going to go wide. Pretty rough to try to land that one onto an Ezreal. And it is easily dodged by Genji.
Brownie's comment appearing even here in the LCK regional. As they are going to raise the mid-tier 1 turret. Faker does have the Braum ultimate, so they do have to be careful.
That's a really nice chunk. Effort's going in, and he's just going to die? As in goes BDD, now Ellen is on the run, and look at Kumiyusi totally zoned out on the left side, not able to do anything. Kana's all alone, and so is Ellen. This is so broken up, and Genji, it's like chasing down the stragglers that got away from the group, and that's just 3 free kills essentially. As you know, there's no objective for now, but this is immediately getting Genji back into the game.
And Genji, I mean, I feel like they're ahead right now. They're down in gold, but because of the way the comps work, that Infernal Dragon giving over so much in terms of stats. I think Faker's dead, actually. Oh, he's gonna manage to dodge that.
Tries to dodge.
He's still dead.
Yeah,
he's still dead.
Yeah, he's still dead. You can go.
Oh, wait, hold on.
That's cool. Never mind. Okay, he's gonna get turned around. Now Effort is angry after what happened the last 2 couple of kills. Here comes Kana. That teleport out of Genji is so late. I don't think he's going to get there on time. He gets there right after life goes down. BDD trying to go 1v3. He is incredibly strong right now. He's going to get that nuke ascension. Oh! Arrow, though, from Gumi.
Faker!
Take BDD out of the fight, and Faker is getting in there. He's trying that damage, and he will be able to take him down. That is an ace to the side of T1 out of nowhere as they turn around the dive in the bottom lane.
Well, he was not dead, Valdez. They were dead. As that series of events, we're going to take a quick cut to a replay from a couple of moments ago. And what a series of events that just unfolded. Feels like he's done this twice now in both of the series. Yesterday on Silas and now here again today. Obviously, this was a very hot mess of situations for T1. And Genji, off of this, they were back in the lead, pretty much. And then down here in bottom lane, it really looked like Faker was going to be dead. I did not consider Pantheon coming in. I should have been looking at the mini-map, so it just looked like they were going to wait for the next stun. They had Braum here, and then they would just end up picking him up shortly thereafter.
Steel tool as well.
But
gets him that health he needs.
Yeah, Effort comes in with the Braum ultimate, or with Pantheon ultimate, locks up the Braum, life ends up going down, BDD here as well, and he's really strong. Ruler able to be here as well, Facebreaker into the Haymaker, cut the replay short.
Go back to the replay. Well, we got the one-on-one here, as Faker is trying to win this
He
one.
wins.
Gonna get that nice Zonya's down, and Rascal is like, well, I'm out of here.
Oh, Sir
He
Grompulus!
actually makes it away. Sir Grompulus gonna be thankfully stopped by Faker, but here comes Effort. He is so unbelievably fast and should be able to get this kill. We'll see if he tries to give it over. Well, no. Just a spear to the face. That works too. As this Cloud Drake will be going down, but it's just a consolation prize for Genji, who have been getting ravaged all around the map, as T1 make a statement and come back in this game.
Gumayushi now on the Ashe. We'll see what he can do with the ultimate.
Shock Blast will miss.
They know about effort. Yeah, they know about Effort. And it looks like they don't want to do the smite fight.
TP's coming in. Lily trying to get onto Faker here. Faker's gonna steal the ultimate. Get on in there, but
Oh,
he gets
no.
immediately
Oh,
shut
no.
down. It is a massacre against T1. A triple kill now for Ruler. And you know he's going for that penta. Gets the quadra. And Effort is just all alone. He's incredibly fast, but it doesn't matter. That was really cute. That was really, really cute. Let's see if they give this over. Nope, the Q is going to miss. And this is not about getting pentakills. It's about winning and going to Worlds. So they're not going to play around with that. They will get the kill, and they're going to get the Baron as well. What a massive turnaround for Gen G now.
Valdez, honestly, I think most viewers' hearts probably can't take the series. Oh, man.
Already.
I do not know what is going on. Faker comes in, and after being the 1v9 hero at so many different points inside of this game, all of a sudden, everything just falls apart on that teleport. And now they're going to lose the Baron. They were already down in levels, and now it's just going to be that much worse. It's an ace going over to Gen G. 4 kills onto the Ezreal, who we mentioned very early on is the most problematic champion for them. It's looking really doom and gloom. It is a 1,500 gold lead now for Gen G. They have the Infernal Dragon. Ezreal is at 3 items, finally picks up the Death Stance. Things are looking pretty grim.
Yeah, it's, I can't believe we've had another turnaround. I mean, the first 2 games have been really all over the place. You could even call it sloppy. And it's crazy. I mean, Gen G, they were able to at least wrest control back into their hands, and it was looking like T1 had done that after some nice turnaround plays from them, but immediately it goes back to the side of Gen G now, who are pushing with this Baron. You can see the gold difference has finally gone in their favor. And they're just looking to push and get as much value as possible. Really nice stand behind me from Light, who's going to get knocked up, but he is a huge tank for this team. True Shot Barrage goes entirely wide. Everybody incredibly slow. As Ingo's Effort, he's got a shield, but he has to flash away. That's not what you want to see. It's going to be another Summoner down. As everything pretty much lost there for T1, as the push will continue here for Gen G.
And it does look like Gen G now, they're going to raise the mid tier 2 Oh, okay. Ezreal.
This is why Ruler plays Ezreal. The guy is insane. And he was on the LCK All-Pro team, you know, the #1 team, selected by all of us for a reason. The guy is absolutely currently the best AD carry in the LCK. And he's showing it off a bit here on the Ezreal. Gen G with a very strong push in mid. They're looking to try to push this to 2-0. We'll see if they can do it.
Well, they are up 2,500 still at this point in the game. And in terms of base levels, 2 level gap inside of the jungle. Everyone else is actually pretty, oh no, 2 level gap jungle, 2 level gap top. And that is honestly a bit of a problem. Top tier 2 turret's gonna get raised here, Valdez. Now they're gonna reset. They're all stockpiling so much gold. Question for me, what is Ezreal's 4th item? Moment of truth. Oh, okay, all right, QSS, all right. Going for the utility, acknowledging that it is highly unlikely that T1 can win unless they can bring him down in a fight. And so the QSS providing even more MR against the Elise and the Sylas, less opportunity to stun him up with either an Enchanted Crystal Arrow or an Elise Cocoon, is definitely erring on the side of caution. And Gen G are just, they're running away with this series. And honestly, Valdez, I mean, this game was going so well. Elise got very fortunate that Life and Clid made the decision that they did to continue the fight at Wolves. And off of that, propelled herself into a ridiculous position inside of the game. And then still, the game just kept ebbing and flowing back and forth. Faker with a hero play onto bottom, put T1 back in a very comfortable position, but they just consistently keep fumbling the ball over and over. And it feels really rough. Gen G, though, they've been much more stable, except for that one blunder down in bot lane.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we were forgetting about the Pantheon. It felt like Gen G were forgetting about the Pantheon, and Faker had some really highlight moves, obviously. So it was a good play by the side of T1, but you can't really, you know, blame Gen G for just the one mistake. Their ability to come back in this game has been pretty nice to watch. As you can see, they're continuing to push here. Not really going to be wasting any time. And unfortunately, you mentioned the Elise got ahead early, but after that, not really able to do much except just be a cocoon bot at this point in time. And you can see Ruler, he's got Cleanse and QSS, doesn't even need to use it on the Ash Arrow that just gets thrown out kind of desperately from the side of Gumayushi.
Oh,
This is just gross. Oh, man. Yeah, okay, Kana. That's 100 to, you know, 5, essentially, in just one little swing. Meet Ruler. You get it?
Ooh. Well,
Didn't see
yeah,
coming.
Well, this is the one chance T1 would probably ever have, is if Gen G overextend here and really botch it. You can see their HP values going really low. Now, they do have a non-active healer in the Nidalee. Gonna be able to heal a lot of the teammates up and allow the siege to continue.
Yeah, just wait for the Morelos to pop off, and then they throw it out.
Ooh, really nice shock blast.
Nice.
This is it.
Okay.
This is probably the closest T1 will get, is this fight, and it seems like they're aware. They were trying to go for it, but in the end, going to get repelled, and Gen G, again, erring on the side of caution, saying, you know what, let's not push this too hard. Baron's coming up. If we get aced here or lose the Baron, they could throw the game back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen this series on a knife's edge all night, and no doubts that one bad maneuver could get you into a really rough spot. So, Gen G just going to take it easy. Don't really have to do much. I'm going to poke out Gumayushi a little bit, but looking to set up vision around the Baron at this point in time, just to be the next big objective. And Ruler's just such a monster in this game. I'm not really sure if T1 are going to have what it takes to take you down, especially with double cleanse, like we talked about, and a really thick front line. I mean, Rascal on the Renekton, always going to be pretty tanky, even though, you know, he didn't actually build tank, but BDD going for the tank set, and of course Braum with the big shield. It's going to make Ruler's job that much easier.
T1, they're basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. They know they can't really push out on the map right now or do anything. And so it's all just about Gen G and what options they want to take inside of this game. Now, fortunately for them, Gen G do not seem to be going for any sort of a Baron dance right now. And I'm unsure why, because they have all their core items completed, so this has actually only benefited T1. If you look at the items in the inventory, this is actually a pretty close point in the game in terms of completions, and also level disparity. Top lane is back to being pretty close. I believe Kana is actually about to ding 16. Faker's 16 to BDD's 15. The real difference is obviously in the jungle. 3.5 level gap. And if Baron gets taken, I mean, we could see 4 levels.
Yeah, it's pretty massive as, yeah, that's a nice little chunk of damage. And this TP very, very early. Faker gonna have to Zonya's right after the start. And just and now 3 of them! This is going to be a massacre. LM on the run here. Man, you could see Effort desperately trying to get onto Ruler, but he just lets him die to the Baron. He doesn't even attack him. As Kana now on the run. They're going to stop his back and look to push into the top lane and take this game.
Yeah, and you can see LM, I mean, he's trying to recall. He's the only one, though. Teleport coming in now. And they're not even recalling for elixirs or anything. They probably just know that there's too much of a death timer, and it's an Elise that's defending the remaining Nexus turrets. They do not have a way from mid, but it's not going to matter. This is going to be Gen G going up 2-0 against T1. And the question on a lot of people's minds is, are we going to have subs now come out in the final match point game? Because things are looking real grim.
I would imagine so. I think if we could give them advice, I would say probably you would want to swap some players out. after that one. Gen G looking quite strong. T1 had the lead with some great maneuvers and some really nice mechanical plays. And then Gen G just were able to come over the top and shut them down. That one fight around the Baron where Faker gets caught out and VDD just slaps him down and his ultimates into the back line of 3 members was a huge turnaround. And VDD had a really fantastic game. It's good to see that his game is on when they need it most, as the Gauntlet Kings are looking primed to take this series. They still got to win one more.
Yeah.
But the 2-0 lead is quite convincing.
I mean, the manner in which they're winning also is very fortunate. The one time that T1 looked like they were in a commanding position this game came at the luxury of Life and Clid not electing to just back off. If that doesn't happen, the game will continue as normal. BDD is winning his lane phase. The jungle is just going to get worse and worse because Elise needs to get ahead. It's just one of the problems that she suffers from. Otherwise, she can't convert well. And BDD is on. We saw that in the laning phase. He was decimating the trades, hard winning the CS matchup against Faker as well. I mean, everything is just looking so much more crisp.
Yeah, it does feel like they are the better team on the day, but again, they need one more win. It's not over yet. This is why we play best of 5s.
This is it. I mean, you take a look at the left-hand side. BDD has level 6, but Clid and Life, they could just back off. And if this happens, and the game continues as normal, Elam's in a really rough spot. And Faker's going to continue to be in a rough spot because he's getting pulled away from stuff. He's already in a bad spot inside of the lane. But Gen G tries to handshake the fight. And Ruler, he comes over. Gumiyashi's here as well, flashes over the wall. Ash Volley, double kill onto the most important player to actually get the kills in the early stages of the game, which is Elam, so that he can retain his advantage over Nidalee. This was a really good fake by Faker. I said it in the game. He just barely managed to see Clid out of the corner of his eye with the vision, and so Gen G probably thought that T1 had not seen them because of the way that Faker continued moving. But in fact, they had been seen. Cocoon ends up lands. T1 gets a couple of kills underneath their belt. Effort, he's been having a really off recently. Obviously, in this highlight, getting caught out once again. Remember, Nautilus from the game before, yesterday, several points. I remember the Bard in front of the mid-tier 1 turret is another highlight that ends up standing out to me. This was Faker's hurrah, basically. Pantheon coming in. I know you and I mistakenly just thought that he was dead. Gets the kill onto the Renekton, and they start turning everything around.
Yeah, Faker's Silas does look really on point the last couple of days. As you can see, he's able to outplay this very well. Gets in, gets the kill onto Ruler. Definitely against what we were expecting. But this is the big one for T1, where it's like, okay, great, now they're back in the game. And then this happens. Faker, the unfortunate teleport, gets a great ultimate, and then gets smacked down, and is the amazing vehicle for BDD to immediately get onto that squishy backline. And all the kills went over to the Ezreal at the same time. Quadra kill, plus the one going to the Renekton. And after this, it was really looking like lights out for Gen G.
Yeah, I mean, Gen G are just really showing up in Gen G fashion here today. They don't quite dominate and take over the games like we saw against DRX, but if you remember the context under which they lost to DRX as well, that game number 5, they had Ocean Soul, they had Baron in their hands, and then they got aced, and just the death timers were too long. They ended up losing. But Gen G, very, very scary. And the way the series is going, you have to wonder, what is T1 thinking now? Because it's looking like it's all over, Valdez.
It does feel that way, to be perfectly honest. It does feel like Gen G are having the stronger best of 5 right now. And we were wondering, you know, who's going to have the stronger buff? Is it going to be the Gauntlet buff to Gen G, or is it going to be the best of 5 buff to T1? And so far, looks like that Gauntlet buff is pretty strong. Gen G are looking like an incredibly difficult team for T1 to crack. So, guys, we are going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have game number 3, which could possibly be the decider that sends Gen G to Worlds. So, we'll be extremely hyped to see if T1 can try to come back or are we just going to have Gen G getting the clean sweep? We'll find out after the break.